Okay, so hello everybody. A pleasant good evening. My name is Open Source VR. My nickname is Jay, but Open Source VR is the name of the YouTube channel. I wanted to put together this quick video to accompany the upload of this simple app to flightsim.to. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the app and why it came to be. And I wanted to tell you about the use cases that I have for it and how I plan to use it moving forward, and maybe it might give you some ideas about how you can use it moving forward as well. Right now I'm loaded up in San Francisco in the 777 by PMDG. I love this airport, but it's pretty resource heavy. I love this aircraft as well, but these things together, this aircraft and the scenery together, well, that's a heavy load on the PC. We use a lot of resources. You might find yourself in this situation often where you are struggling for additional resources when using your flight simulator. Maybe you might not even be struggling for resources. Maybe you might be more like me. I run virtual reality predominant setup with these heavy add-ons. So that increases the workload of my computer. And virtual reality is very sensitive to things like micro-stutters, input lag, for example, and regular stutters. But it's this rhythmic or cyclical micro-stutters that occur every now and then that can really make or break your virtual reality experience. Could also make or break your head tracking experience as well. That could introduce some nausea and some discomfort when you're moving around your head. When every now and then you get these micro pauses, it just ruins the immersion, right? So I have always done something about this, but it's been more resource intensive. The things that I have done have kind of wasted a lot of my time in the past. I usually would open up Task Manager and I would go find the usual culprits. I would look for things like GSX Pro running in the background. I would close as many Chrome tabs as I can. If I'm not using a certain application, then I don't need it running. And so I started thinking, hey, what if I could reduce the amount of times that I have to do this manually? How can I simplify my workflow? It started simply. I started creating batch files that would look for a certain running program and then close it. But then I noticed that even just running batch files for single task or single executable files, that took a little bit of time as well. So I put together this app in Python that pulled together some of the most usual culprits and put them all in one place. And you could also modify your usual culprits. So if you run things like Photoshop, you run things like Chrome, for example, these might be things that might be using a lot of resources in the background while you fly. And these might be the cause of your micro-stutters, which might ruin your simulation experience. So you can add these to the app. You can close them manually, or you can do it through the use of this app itself. I keep talking about this app. Well, let's actually see what this thing is all about. So this is the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 Companion Manager that I've been working on. It's basically a task manager for Flight Simulator 2024. As I told you, I used to go to the task manager at least twice per flight. And once to close programs after I push back from the gate, like GSX. The GSX is a great companion to Flight Simulator, but I don't need it after pushing back behind the gate. And it might have very minimal impact on your simulator experience, but again, I want to dedicate as much resources to my processor and my GPU and my memory as I can, right? So I try to close out as many apps as possible. So GSX was one of those apps that was just a culprit for me. And anytime I'm not parked using gate services, using taxi services, nothing like that from GSX, then I can close the app and I can get back just a couple hundred megabytes maybe in GPU power, in memory, sorry, and resources, okay? So in order to do this, you can go ahead and run the companion manager. It will pre-populate a set of apps that might function as culprits. For example, I've auto-populated GSX Pro, Navigraph Charts, PiMax Client, Rex Atmos Pro, Real A-Cars, FS Realistic Pro, V-Pilot. And I want to make clear, these are great products. And if I could, in a perfect world, I would have all of them running at the same time. But we're living in an imperfect world where we have to be cognizant of how much resource we have available to us and how much resources we are using currently, okay? So GSX Pro, for example, I hate to keep bullying this app, but it is one of those apps that come with a performance impact that I've noticed on my end at least. Play around with it and see which one's causing the most problems. You can find out in Task Manager, or you could use my companion manager. So we can start here at GSX Pro. This comes pre-populated, but what you want to do is just go into the settings tool, and the settings tab will allow you to add and remove programs based on what's running or not, okay? So you might be wondering, well, this is not auto updating. What's the point? How would I know if something is running? You're right. By default, when you open up the app, you'll see a list of those pre-populated apps, but it will also let you know if we are automatically checking for the apps or not. By default, the check feature is off for automatic polling, right? So every 5 seconds, the app can check to see if an executable is running that you've listed or you've selected in the settings tab, right? If it's running when it checks in that 5-second interval, then it will give you some more information about the memory of the app, right? So right now, technically, I have no idea if GSX is actually running at this time because my polling feature is off. So I don't know if GSX is running. It was running when it last checked upon startup of the companion app, but it might not be running right now. And there's no way for me to know that unless I re-enable polling or I manually refresh the app down here at the refresh button. So let's enable polling. So as I said, every 5 seconds it will check to see if the executable file is running. The benefit of this is that you're not using, and I know it's minimal, it's a very lightweight app, but you're not using any additional resource power. Remember, I'm resource conscious. You're not using any additional resource power every 5 seconds to see if an app is running. Then you would drive yourself crazy thinking, hey, every 5 seconds I have a micro-stutter. Is it the companion manager? Well, this helps. So by default, polling is off, but I just enabled it. So you'll see polling is set to on right now. And so every 5 seconds right now, it's checking to see what the impact is of certain executables and certain apps. So GSX is running currently. We're confident about that. The last time that it checked 5 seconds ago, it was running. It's using about 3% of the CPU, and it's using about 442 megabytes of available RAM. Based off of these metrics, it would estimate, the app is going to estimate the impact of these apps on your flight simulator performance, which isn't one-to-one, but it can give you an idea. Higher resource use means higher performance impact, which might introduce stutters, okay? So a special note about GSX, and this is the only app that I've done this for. FS Dream Team is very sneaky, I'll say sneaky, okay? Because they want their programs to run, all right? They want their programs to run, and because of this, they want you to use their programs, of course. They've actually introduced a separate executable file, separate from the actual GSX Pro software, that is a boot watcher. So it'll basically check to see if GSX is running, and if it's not running, it will automatically start it. It's a small, lightweight app. I'll show you. It is a small, lightweight app, and by the way, if you can avoid it, please don't hack me. I'm not sure if I'm showing sensitive things, all right? I'm begging, don't hack me. If you have to, you know, you have to. I understand. But if you can help it, please don't hack me, even if I dox myself on accident, okay? Just give me some grace. Try my best, all right? But GSX has this software that's included in their install that silently installs another program called, maybe you might not be able to see this, but it's called quadle64 underscore boot.exe. Why is this important? Well, that's the app that checks. It's a boot watcher that checks to see if GSX is running, and if it's not running, it will automatically enable it. Okay, so that's one of the only apps that have this functionality built into it. Let me go ahead and bring the boot manager over to this screen so you can see it, and I'll make this screen just a little bit bigger here as well. Look at what happens whenever I stop GSX Pro from my taskbar. If I was to stop GSX Pro from my task menu, what you will notice is you can come here and you can hit end task, end process, and we'll give it a few. Let's see what happens. All right, remember my app is also running as well, so you can see here that for some reason GSX has restarted. Right, I didn't ask for it to be restarted, but it's restarted again. That is GSX telling you, hey, I don't want to be closed, don't close me. I will hate it if you close me. I just don't like that. I would love full autonomy over what runs, when it runs, what stats, when it stats. I don't like that. So I've disabled that function personally, but for most users, they probably don't even know that this is happening in the background. So with my app, GSX Pro is special in the sense that if you hit stop on GSX Pro, it also kills the boot watcher function, and it gives you a little warning here that says GSX Pro terminated. Boot watcher also killed to prevent auto restart. Okay, so now whenever my polling checks every 5 seconds, you'll see here that the impact is nil, and GSX Pro is stopped, and the boot watcher is also stopped. So it stops both of them. It stops the GSX Pro, but it also stops the boot watcher as well. And you can see it's not started back here in my regular task manager. So you can kind of see how this is helpful as not only a stop tool, but as a stat tool. Let's say I want to run Navigraph Charts. I could just hit the stat button right there, and Navigraph Charts will start up over here. You know, if I'm ready to close Navigraph Charts, but I don't want to go into the task manager for the taskbar, for example, if I'm locked into virtual reality, I could hit the stop button here, and Navigraph Charts closes. The PiMax Client, that's another one that runs in the background that might hog some resources. If I wanted to, I could hit the stat all function, and all of these apps will stat. Right? All of these apps will stat. Okay? Which is not optimal, right? But just to show you that it works. So all these apps have statted. You know, it gives me a little warning here that says high CPU usage. Consider stopping some apps down below, right? So so you can see GSX is back up there running again. And if I wanted to, I could stop all these apps as well and save some resources. There you go. In the next 5 seconds, it'll check and all these will be stopped. There you go. Boom. And I could stop automatic polling and save a little bit of resources every 5 seconds, so the app is not checking every 5 seconds. Okay. There's also a settings tab that you can use. Here you go. You can go ahead and configure all the programs that you would like to add. For example, if I would like to close Chrome, here's how you can work this into your workflow. You can go into Task Manager, for example, and I will go here to find Chrome. I can then right click on Chrome, and traditionally you would just hit End Task to close it, but you could also hit Open File Location, and this is going to bring up a folder that shows you where your programs are located. And then you can hit the right click on top of the executable file. You can go to Copy as Path, for example, and then you can come over here and add this. So add new name, add new app, let's say Chrome, right? And then the name, the path to the app, chrome.exe, and then you could add chrome.exe here to the executable name. You can hit add Chrome, you can hit add to add Chrome to the list, and then you can save this to the configuration file. So you can see all the apps that you've added to your configuration file right here. Reopening the setting app will add Chrome here to the monitored application section. Okay, so now Chrome here is stopped, but if you refresh, you'll see Chrome is running in the background. We don't want that, so let's stop Chrome. And if we refresh again, you'll see Chrome is stopped. So a very, very simple tool, lightweight tool, which is the objective of the tool. And let's see here. And this is a very useful function for people who are resource cognizant or resource aware. Okay, so that's really it. I plan to keep this app updated. It's completely free of charge on the flightsim.to website, and I intend to keep it updated as I can and add functionality based on what is needed or what is requested. And in the future, we can add or remove things that is not needed or, not wasted or not wanted. If you encounter any errors, let me know. I'm very new to this stuff, but we can work through them together. The app is freely available, but I also have a donation link on my flightsim.to account that can help you find ways to donate money to continue the development. Well, not continue the development. Development will continue regardless, but it would help me, in my other ventures outside of life. I'm trying to make sure that I make good business practices and try to support myself financially outside of my regular work. So this is my venture into this. I will keep this app free, and I do appreciate your support. I appreciate your time, and I hope that this app is helpful to you as a community. Thanks. Have a good day. And just to show you that it works, let's do something for fun. Let's come here, open file location. I can copy OBS 64, copy as path. I can come here, I can hit settings. I can add OBS, right? I think the name is OBS 64.exe, and I could add a path to OBS, to OBS64.exe. Can add, and I can save, right? If I restart the polling, we can see that OBS is running high impact, and if I hit stop,